Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for being here.
Hello.
Hello, Joanna. I didn't know that you were there.
Yeah, we are
Sorry.
we are we are
Yeah,
actually in our makerspace giving the speech in the space where everything happens.
okay, good. Great, perfect. Okay, so we will start in 1 minute. So there are all people coming, so that is really nice. And I think I will start just to be fair with the time and the time schedule. We will have a 1 hour of exciting presentations. So first, warm welcome to everyone to our webinar Service Design and AI Cases, Projects and Insights. This is a very a type of webinar is the second that we have as a group. My name is Marilu Soto. I will be the host today. I am part of the design faculty at Universidad del Desarrollo in Chile, and also we will have there is participants from different parts of the world, so it's really nice. We are a group, all the presenters today. We are a group of enthusiastic researchers spread across different corners of the world. We have the same passion for service design and a commitment to exploring new ideas, practices, and perspectives. Events like this allow us to stay connected and not only to emergent topics but also to know each other, and that is also very nice to be part of the community. As a researchers and practitioners, it is essential to venture beyond our comfort zones by embracing both the familiar and unfamiliar. We are open to we open ourselves to new ways of thinking and learning. And today webinar is a great opportunity to do just that. And I feel incredibly lucky to share this space with so many kind and talented people like you. Through the webinar, please feel free to share your question in the chat box. Just let us know who your question is directed to, and we will make sure to address as many as possible at the end of the presentations. Here's what you can look forward in the next hour. This is all the presenter today. And we will start with Satu Metinen and Marisol Homo after yes, thank you, Teresita. And after them, we will have Joanna and Jan from Centria. And after them, we will have Shenhang and Kiwong after Shenhang. And after it will be Tarja, but here is the next slide. It was me at the end, but also Tarja with different topics, everyone. So you can see all the things that we will have. They will introduce ourselves as we go. So let's get started and dive into this fascinating insights that you. Thank you for being here and for contributing to this exchange of ideas. So let's start with Satu and Mari. You can share your screen if you want.
Thank you. I think we start always with the classical question, if you can share our screen in a second. So
yeah.
it's over here. So you're able to see it now?
Yes.
That's great. So let me put this in the whole screen somewhere. It's funny because it's
it's in the bottom. In the bottom?
Oh yeah, in the bottom. Yeah, I normally use Keynote and now I'm using PowerPoint. Hopefully it's starting now. Okay, so thank you. So this is a presentation from Professor Satu Miettinen and me about historical perspectives on service design and technology, which is part of, or the presentation is part of these two books. One is about service design for emerging technologies product development, and another one is systemic service design. And the first chapter that we're going to talk is from this book. And if you're more interested in it, you can find it in Amazon or through this link also at Springer. So the chapter is written by Paola Trapani, Satu Miettinen, and me, looking at the different ways that we can practice service design and how they influence the way we do services as well. And Satu, will you want to take from here?
Sorry, the microphone was not. I think I will put the timer that I will not use all the time, so I have something alarming me. So I think this is a good question. Do you use service design in your work? I think now, and what is the role of technology in this? But I think now we just need to pass this and go to the next one. And when you look at the historical development and how service design has emerged, you can understand that there's no one way of making service design, nor just one theoretical or practical starting point or underpinning of service design, but it is attached to very many disciplines. This is one of the classical starts and going more towards the economy. Mari, can you put the next one? And then there's service design. I think this is also looking service design more from the design research perspective. And then you have planning system for sustainable development, how service design is attached to that and giving a process for this underpinning, and design for service that is very much attached to the theories on value co-creation. So you can see that how, and then looking at the whole ecosystem design and what service design contributes there with a holistic view and also through methodological and process development. So you can see that from the early 80s until 2020s, that's like span of 40 years. And when you attach that to the theoretical developments, of course, that's a short span of time. And there you can, I think, Mari, maybe you can put all of them there.
Yes.
Because that's also, we have so short time. So when you look at this and how these relate both to the theories and technological developments, you can see that there's a lot of development from different various sectors, from cognitive psychology, interaction design, environmental management, intersection of design and service marketing, and then service marketing and systems thinking. I think this development, it shows that, like the development of technology is exponential. It is ever speeding. So in service design, it is attaching service design to several disciplines, but then also the wideness of service design in how many different areas it is used, that is widening. And to also how do you look at from perspective of complexities, like if you are there in service design, it's very much orientated towards HCI, human computer interaction, and developing these interactions. Then you are looking at environment and the value co-creation theories, and then the whole systems and ecosystems, which is making the how you utilize service design in more and more complex settings. So I think that tells a lot about the historical and theoretical development in service design. technology in each of these phases is more and more complex and in more and more various roles in service design. Was there, Mari, still one more slide for me? Okay, I think now we swap to you.
Yes. So now we're going to look a little bit about the context of applying these different perspectives in creating services that might use emerging technologies. And if you look, for example, the case of service design itself, we can look at the case of autonomous driving, how to go from car owning to car sharing. And we could start the process by complexity mapping or mesh mapping to understand the context. And there we would consider the user that can be multiple in the process. And as you see, like in the image, so it's a very complex situation as well that you need to consider all these kind of different actors in the scene. And also one would need to create empathy towards all these actors involved. In the case of product service system design, there is one example in the chapter 14 of that same book that is about airline services on board. And there you look synchronizing different collaborations between the company, raw material suppliers, and distributors. And there you could use AI and robotics to create more new innovations. For example, by using the data that you get from the customers, what they buy, and this way predict the future purchasing preferences for the customers and make suggestions on that basis. If you use design for service, for example, in the context of mental health services of youth, one could co-design a virtual world with youth and counselors. And this platform, it could allow people to relax, release, and connect with their counselors. And it's one way of creating value together. And in service ecosystem design, in the hypothetical case that we would use service robots in senior housing, one would first need to build reflexivity of actors affecting such change. And the designers or the service ecosystem designers would look at the social structures, including norms, rules, values, and beliefs. And they would also need to take and consider the analysis of unintended consequences. And itself, when we talk about the service design perspectives, we can identify some commonalities that the user needs when we design for emerging technologies. So all that starts with some sort of a need. And combining these needs and the technologies, we can create new innovations. We can also argue that applying the user's perspective, whether they are one or a full ecosystem of actors, right from the start will better enable the implementation of the products and services as they've been designed to attend those needs. And then there is one more service orientation in this book, Systemic Service Design, that is looking about service design and systems-oriented design. And if you mingle these two, then we get systems-oriented service design, that you start applying the systems perspective to service design. And there you have some different principles that are, for example, understanding the independent experiences, understanding the multi-perspective and service narratives. And it still continues to use participatory and co-design approaches, and the materiality and evidencing that is very familiar for service design from the design field. And working with the problem fields with the micro, meso, and macro levels, but also understanding that the situation is extremely systemic and holistic. And also using systemic design tools is essential part for this perspective. Also, one should consider the values, sustainability, and ethics. And if you're more interested, so this book can be found through this link or a QR code. And thank you from us.
Thank you very much, Satu and Mari. We will going now with Joanna and Jan.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you. I will also. Oh, I need to request for the sharing first.
Now you can share.
Okay, thank you. Just a moment.
Yes, we can see now.
You always tend to click something wrong when you are kind of right on the
Yes.
spot, so to say. Thank you, Marilu, so much for including and inviting us. It's such a pleasure to be talking here today. We'll also try to track the time, and we have a very practical approach to the subject. We are talking about how to create user-centered AI service with service design, and we have a case about R&D Bob, which is a work in progress, and we are very much in the space where it's going to be happening. And my name is Johanna Hautamäki, and I work here at Centria University of Applied Sciences as a service designer and also as a research and development professional. And I have here my colleague.
Hello, my name is Jan Ågren, and I also work in Centria, but in the digitalization team with this everything regarding like software and IT.
Yeah, so we have this combination with digitalization and service design, which is a good one for this project. And we are working together with this nationally funded 2-year project, which is RDI Path for SMEs, so small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. And we are in Finland very much aligning this target with the government that by year 2030, 4% of the GDP should be about kind of making contributions to research and development. And currently around 10% of SMEs are doing systematically research and development work of their own. So we are enhancing that amount. And we are doing development through trial with the SMEs in this project in order to create RDI path for the companies. So the content of the training path and the model of the training is co-created with the companies. And the aim is to increase the competence level in RDI. And we are basing the kind of the content of the project on our previous work within a couple of last years, which is about helping companies, for example, applying COVID-19 recovery funds and doing the general development work within different companies. So the aim of the R&D Bob is that we are trying to find a more creative and immersive and exciting way to share the R&D training material for the companies. And so kind of disseminate the results that we are creating. And we want to do something more than PDF. So Jan came up with these nice ideas.
Yeah, well, I can talk more about the background here, because at first we thought about just putting this whole material in a textbook, but we were afraid that it might not be as accessible as we would want it to be. And then for the participants in this project, we created this like a teams workspace where we split the material in different topics, and also wanted to give this like companies the chance to have like a dialogue between them, so they could basically help each other on the path as well. And now you can see this like our on the screen that is also a work in progress, because we wanted to also make this like an interactive web page where you could like click on the topic and get the material and links necessary for it. But from here we started talking about more about like how to storyify the process, how to storyify the path, and that's how we came to that's how the R&D Bob came to be.
Yeah, and the name in the language in the project is Finnish. So the name is Tekoi Tarmo, which we translated to RD Bob. And Tarmo is because Tarmo means like
It means like a strength, hardiness, or like a resilience.
yeah, it's a name of a person in Finnish language. And well, that came the idea to us that, well, we have the Bob the Builder in English, and well, Bob can pretty much do anything. So that would suit us with the AI. And we are in a concepting phase at the moment, and we are approaching this very much in the practical level, our presentation. And the first thing is that we need to have a learning material for the AI, and the material would consist of the material that we are generating during the RDI path for the companies. And we are doing 3 RDI paths as development through trial. And the first one is at the moment going on with 14 companies. And next year we are going to have 2 more paths. And we are also including some general RDI background material that we have available. But here we have some current challenges.
Yeah, when we started thinking about this, like the concept of the R&D pub, there's a few like challenges that we faced with it. For example, that because you nowadays need to basically know how to use AI, you need to know how to ask it certain questions or how to prompt it. And of course, it is like another question is like how to make it more like engaging or like approachable AI. That how you can have a real conversation with it, and how to ask questions.
Yeah, we don't want to require the people who want to access the material to be that they need to be professionals in AI. So we need to make it more easily approachable. So how can we do more human feel to the process? So we are using service design and doing the co-creative part a lot with the SME people, the people who work at the developing organizations for SMEs, and also we are using students from Centria and from our region who are into entrepreneurship. So how can we what are the user journeys when people would use this guide? So how do they find their way around and get the information that they would need? And then you also had mind about how do more friendly approach to prompting.
Yeah, basically because currently prompting means that you need to, like I said, ask the AI in a certain way, or or use these like multiple prompts to get the results that you need. And then we ask these questions that what if the AI prompts you that ask you the questions of how to refine the search or how to like narrow down the subject to what you need.
Yes. And since we have both technological and service design approach, the technological people can also participate in the workshops and get the first-hand idea of the users and get the ideas more. But as we said, the simple question answer functionality can be very frustrating. So that is one of the unique challenges that we have kind of faced here a little bit. And the other thing was that we were thinking that how can we orient the AI person like the Bob here to be representative of a brand or a company? So how much material do we need to feed that AI about those things? And what kind of service do we actually, as a University of Applied Sciences, want the RDI operator, the Bob, to deliver? So how is it representing us and giving the information that companies need? And we also kind of approach some of the gaps between AI designed so-called perfect processes and real user experience. We were thinking that, okay, we can map out a lot of the most common ones, the paths, that what kind of information the companies would need. But then there is always something, exceptions or some unusual cases, and we can't come up with all of those. We need to do, we also, besides that, the users are kind of developing the first ideas with us and the paths, but we also want them to test the AI when we have the first prototypes. But one of the problems is that how can we make the AI more responsive?
Yeah, well, the idea here is basically that what kind of AI we need in order to keep both the user and the AI on the subject matter on the so-called path.
Yeah,
in
so
AI.
so that in unusual situations or unexpected situation, it doesn't give any ridiculous responses. So that's something very important. And for our next steps, the project is ending at the end of next year, and we will be having the workshops during the spring with the users about the user journeys and also the stakeholders, and more with the prompting, of course.
Yeah, of course, and we also want to take this like a users on the training as early as possible to establish the feedback loop for the model.
Yeah, so we need to gather the training material from the pods and also do the user testing, and that's going to be towards next fall. But we are expecting to have some kind of, we have a concept and some kind of working prototype before this project ends. But for having an actual functional RDI Bob, I think it's going to take us longer than this project. It's going to be continuing work, but this was what we had to tell you about R&D Bob, and we thank you for listening. And if you have some questions, you can approach us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joanna and Jan. Now is the turn of the individual presentations. It's like a 5-7 minutes each one. So we will start with Shenkang.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. It's very exciting. It's a great timing. And also, I'm very excited to see. I didn't know we have so many people in the virtual world. I'm very happy to share the work in progress research we're working on. So let me share my screen now. And thank you for the host event having me. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I changed the title last minute, but I think it's still relevant. It's about mapping aging in place through AI and robotics, a system modeling perspective. So I'm Sheng Hong, and I love design and basically my research about human behavior and services. So for me, this is a new topic focused on products, service, human behavior, and now it's more like immersive media and technology and experience design. So this is a work in progress research, and for sure teaching different places. And today we focus on like aging in place. So what do we mean by aging in place, right? So from ARP and also CDC, the easy way to understand is like the ability to live in one's own home and community safely, independently, and comfortably as one grows older. So basically, you get older, you want to stay at home. And this is a very short design sprint research. Me with Devon from Teague, which is you can think about as an internal design studio for Boeing company. The idea is very straightforward. The process is here like we try to propose a framework around aging in place, AI, and robotics, and use that as a way to test people to help us refine the framework. And then my focus is on, okay, if we look at this from system perspective, what does that mean for us? So the flow is that kind of that process. And for this presentation, we have more data to show, but it's focused on this 4 people about average age about 70 in their in the early stage of retirement. So they all just retire and also financial stable and also very interested in this topic. They have some knowledge, and most of them work on research institute or other universities. So the whole ideas about this framework is very cool. We have 4 archetypes: advisor AI, butler robotic AI, valet robotic AI, and system AI. So you can think about advisor AI is very simple. Think about the Siri, Amazon, Alexa, right? More like a virtual digital. The difference between butler robotic and valet robotics, butler is more like focused on dynamic needs versus valet is more like a daily routine, like cleaning task. So that's the differences. The system AI is more hard to describe because it's broader. It's more like everything connected. So it's more like a virtual. And we try to propose this 2x2 framework. We think about head and hands, physical and digital. So we come like a 2x2 framework. And then we try to interview with all these 4 people we selected, and then use a grounded theory to get the code, and then think about, okay, if this is in the cost loops diagram in the system, what are the different variables? What's the cause effect link? What are the feedback looks like? And what are the archetypes, right? So it's very we try to do this very subjective process, and we try to find interesting loop connection with different like variables. For example, product experiences service, very straightforward. What does that mean in this context, right? So it's really interesting to focus on use these keywords from the interview, from qualitative data, and think about it from the system level, and try to play with all these links and find different loops, different feedback loops. There could be reinforcement feedback, there could be balanced feedback. So it depends on how we look at the system. It's interesting and also help us refine the framework. So I'm not going to this in detail. There's a lot of things here, but the goal is I try to look at the AI and robotic and aging in place more like systematic way. So in the end, we have this like, so we have external variables, internal variables, and also excluded variables. And one archetype we found, and we have 18 causal effect links. So the idea is like, the cool thing about this like a system modeling approach is the co-creation process. And also we try to find underlying participants like latent needs in this context. For example, you can see like, yeah, family and life transition is really important. It's more like a constant driving force to make change. And then what does it mean for the design and designers in this like a AI process? And then for sure, we need more sample size, and this is like short design sprint project, 3 months, I guess. And we try to build this framework, and then really like it's just the starting point at this stage for now. And very exciting, and we have more to come. And definitely, Devin and I were going to publish the early stage of research, I think next year at Fast Company. So this is like a precursor, preliminary learning, and very exciting to share to this like short event. I'm talking very fast. It's more like a speed dating, but very exciting to see everyone's faces. It's super early here. It's normally a time with me and my family, but this is great. It's with more people. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing and also looking for more questions.
Thank you very much, Chen Hang. Very fun. And we will go now with Ki Wong.
Yeah, I will share my screen.
Great.
Yeah, can you also see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So thanks very much for organizing everything, Marilu. So I'm also very excited to present what I have done for the last few years. And I was going to speak about the storytelling with the generative AI and the impacts on designer's empathy. Although I really love the AI, so actually the picture behind it is actually taken by me. It looks quite different from last year, but we don't have not much snow at the moment in Lapland. But so we will see more snow in Lapland soon. So my basic idea, my research is about how we can make the storytelling and AI to how we keep. So basically, the four main research question was how can we increase the designer's empathy, because if we have to increase the designer's empathy to provide the right services and product for the client. So how we can increase the designer's empathy is one of the first question. And then the second one is how we can prototype the services for the less known market. So if you want to penetrate very less known market, for example, the Finnish market, so the companies maybe in South Korea may need to have some kind of like proper information about how they can penetrate the Finnish market without having some kind of like business consultancies agent support. Then how those kind of marketing research is a bit expensive for those who are not very used to pay for those kind of service fee. So we need to kind of minimize the kind of like market research fee for the small and medium-sized enterprises for having those in place. And also, how can we reduce the designer's skills gap? So, for example, although I'm calling myself as a service designer, I really have poor drawing skills. So my wife says that my 10-year-old daughter will be already draw much better than I am drawing. So how I can reduce but even in the meantime, I also want to present very kind of compelling and appealing design and artwork. So how I can minimize those kind of skill gap in terms of the kind of like practical stuff. And also there was a YouTube video about the AI, the kind of creating the AI-aided app for the creating the lullaby. So there is one of the inspiration for my research. So the first thing that I did is I tried to customize the OpenAI's ChatGPT to provide the target emotional journey and plus provide a minimum 4 characters in the story. So because if we have just only 2 characters are interacting each other, so we don't have any proper interaction between the characters. So we may need to have at least 4 characters to understand how this customer and her or his environment is working in that specific market condition. And also to focus on the character's emotional journey and emotional interaction between those stakeholders. And also I try to kind of like ask the customized one to provide the calculations of the accuracies of the story, because the output of the generative AI is all based on their assumption and the kind of massive data from the internet. So the users of this kind of customer GPT needs to know how accurately the story is published. So there was a little link in the bottom of that left side of the slide is my customer GPT called Taranoita. Taranoita in Finnish means the stories. So then I also established the prototyping process with the generative AI by firstly provide some kind of like, basic information about the empathy, storytelling, and service design, and also there are numerous options of the AI. And then I asked to create some draft stories and stakeholder mapping to kind of like initiating some kind of relationship between the stakeholder. Then I asked the participant to brainstorm some design solution based on the kind of like pain point that is identified in the previous step. Then I asked the participants to refine the story, makes it really more realistic and meet those kind of like their customers' customer satisfaction. So basically, my approach to customize GPT plus the prototyping process and workshop process with the generative AI is to examine if there is any empathy based on this kind of like an AI-added solution. So I want to evaluate the empathy with the cognitive empathy dimensions originally proposed by the Davies, but the Ingolia and they're providing kind of draft versions of the IRI metric. So I use that as well. So I also use the 5-point Likert scale as a quantitative data, but because it is very preliminary stage, so the analysis is actually not very statistically significant. So there are total 65 participants for my research. So there are 34 participants from the US, where we visited University of Washington, and we also visited DRS conference for workshop and sessions in the existing course. And we also have the 5 participants in Japan. But because there are a small number, because I embedded my workshop idea to the 8 weeks course, the quality of their feedback is much more richer than the others. And also we do have some 26 participants from our University of Lapland. So it is also embedded in the workshop and sessions in existing courses as well. So what I found, and I also asked the participants to fill the survey, and I got the 36 responses. And there are one of the key findings is more than 90% of the participants show their empathy toward the AI generated story. And the second one is the generative AI support designer's empathy for the unfamiliar market. So they are kind of like, it is kind of providing really kind of good experience for the designers and also the users of the AI tools. So for the future studies, how can we maximize the designer's creativity with this kind of AI tool? Because I don't want to AI tools to replacing design's role. So when should the designers use this kind of specific tools to design thinking step or the double diamond model in service development? And also what are the further research on establishing the AI development trajectory? Because we are in the very tipping point of understanding how AI works for our communities as well. So we need to establish fundamental things, either for the policy-making process or kind of social norms about how we should use the AI in practice. So these are the QR code to link to my own customized GPT. So I'm very welcome to have any other further questions about my research as well. So feel free to reach me anytime. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Ki-Won. Thank you for your presentation. And now we are going with Tarja. I will share your presentation. Okay, so now you can see the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. I actually saw the button later. It was the screen size. Yes, so thanks for the invitation. So my name is Tarja Pääkkönen and I come from Lapland University as well in Finland. This is a very short a kind of call for more data if someone might be interested or if you know anyone who would be interested. So the overall topic is about our digital lifestyles, the way our daily living here and now locally has changed in the past 10, 20 years, and the ethics related to it. And what we would like to stress is to come back to user perspectives. Next, please. Can you? Yeah, thanks. So I have a very recent paper in here, which is part of the background. It was a study among design leaders, and the outcome was that they considered the lack of awareness about the ethical dimensions of design to be one of the main problems in design. So there are a lot of issues behind the wonderful and beautiful aims that we have and people as designers have. We have the technology and it can do a lot of things. But the question is, should we do all of the things that are possible? The ethical dimensions are also related to the users, and elsewhere, for example, in service literature, we have the concepts of service failure. So there is no service after all. So much of the services are about marketing and communicating. Organizations are selling services to make a profit. And this is quite an old-fashioned or traditional way of management thinking. And on the other hand, we have the users. Many users might have something that's even medically researched, which is called digital fatigue or stress. So digital stress and issues like that. So therefore, I think this is something that we need to continue studying in more depth. And this is a continuation of a project that's just ending, the Empathy Business project that has been active for the past 2 years. So next slide, please. So the research question for now is something like, how do users describe their thoughts and experiences related to daily use of new technologies? Now, what are new technologies? It's anything with a screen, smart things, your mobile phone typically, and things like that. And we do need more data. There is some data that we already have. We've done interviews with different ages of people in different countries, even by now. But especially what we do lack are people in minorities, people in countries where you do not have fast access, or you cannot pay for the internet access, or you do not have the devices, or people who are cognitively loaded. The whole population is aging. So all of these things play a role. So we would very much like to have more data. So if you're interested in collecting just a few interviews, they can be in the form of conversations. Let's have a look at the next slide. So that's it. So we have an informed consent form. So we need to have the consent of the people who might be saying something. And they can be either recordings, but it's also fine if the researchers are taking down notes. We're not aiming at some quantitative research because it won't really tell that much about the local personal, subjective ideas that people have, but we want to understand users in their everyday lives. So very much a service design aspect here as well, but perhaps not so researched in service design in all of the cases. So as much global reach and diversity as possible would be our desire if anyone's interested. And I wonder, I have a few questions from the interview. So that's the next last slide, basically. So we have these rather open themes that we have been asking people, and it is an open conversation. So if people bring up some other issues, they're free to do so. But we are asking them about their basically experiences of using different technologies, whether they are worried or pleased with whatever they are using. And until now, I think the whole experience of, for example, banking services, there's a recent study in Finland where numerous people are not satisfied with banking services, where you cannot speak to anyone, where you get a chatbot that won't answer your question and you never really get to speak to anyone. And this is quite a trend globally as well at the time. So we are also worried about the youth because they're born with these things. And we have studies in the States, but also in other countries where the mental health of the youth is declining rapidly. And some people say it's because of the technology and the hours, days and nights that we spend. So all of these issues are just discussion points. And then we would look at the data just in order to understand, first of all, what is the life of these people like nowadays? And especially, this is not tied to any company. It's not tied to sell more services to someone or to make a profit on someone using something, but it's simply to understand what do people really feel about all of this. And I think this is roughly all of it. I think the last slide has one of the interesting studies. So if you're interested, it is a group of researchers from Stockholm. It's a very recent paper. And this is about the concern on the ethics side of design. And that's it. So anyone interested in joining, we would love to have a little bit more data, but I don't know if you have the opportunity or the time. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Marilu, for sharing.
Thank you, very much, Tarja, for your presentation. And I think now it's my turn, so I will share my presentation now. So this, I don't know if I can make something, this, yeah. So, well, it's a pleasure to be here and share with you some of my thoughts and insight in this topic, in this connection between empathy and AI. It's really exploratory and in the first stage. And empathy particularly is the context of service design. In the context of service design has been one of my main areas of research. However, artificial intelligence represents a newer and exciting frontier for me. As a researcher, I always try to stay curious, venture into areas that might feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable. I believe this discomfort is where creativity thrives, and it's in this space that we can discover new and meaningful connections. So it's my start to this exploration with AI. And let's begin with one of the most common words that I hear wherever artificial intelligence comes up, and is the word is efficiency. It's a term that often defines the essence of AI and in different type of discussions, and rightfully so. AI excels at creating processes that are optimized, streamlined, and efficient. Wherever it's automating tasks, analyzing large data sets, or even generating creative outputs, efficiency lies at the core of AI capabilities. Technology is inherently practical, designed to be functional and solve problems efficiently, but is functionality enough? That is one of my questions related with empathy. And there is where empathy adds deep depth, allowing us to address emotional needs alongside practical solutions. When we cross-reference text from design, certain concepts often emerge, like recognize, analyze, simulate, learn, effective, personalization, and go on. All these ideas share a common goal, simulating human behavior while maximizing efficiency in performance. Now, as we delve deeper into empathy, we began to uncover these roots in our biological response, a natural human drive to connect and be with others. This connection is at the core of understanding and designing empathetic interactions. Empathy is a complex because it doesn't rely only on being in front of the others. It's deeply connected with moods, like we can see in this quote, which, as we know, can shift constantly. These changes may happen quickly or linger for extended periods, influenced by various factors that trigger or shape our emotional states. We can change all the time wherever we feel and how permanently are those type of feelings. This is the dynamic nature as a human being, and makes empathy a multifaceted and ever-changing phenomenon. As you can see, when you ask ChatGPT this question, are you as ChatGPT capable of feeling empathy? This is the question, or one of the answer that the ChatGPT gave us. The response is practical and functional. It connects information to provide an answer, but cannot feel or express idea rooted in emotions. And he is really honest, or he is the chat. It is really honest to that. This highlights a key difference. Human rationality is never purely logical. It's nuanced by emotions, intentions, and varying levels of complexity. As I conclude, I want to emphasize the gap and the profound opportunity that lies at the intersection of empathy and AI in service design. Empathy is a uniquely human capacity, our ability to understand others even when it is complex or challenging. But being human does not automatically make us empathetic, nor does it guarantee that we all operate at the same level of empathy. This is where AI can become a powerful ally. By leveraging its capability, we can enhance our understanding and craft better, more inclusive solutions. However, it is essential to remember that success is not just about technology or prompts we use. It is about the intention we bring to service design and how we can navigate the challenges, or even how we can connect with a different type of global crisis. Ultimately, it is the thoughtful application of empathy and AI together that will allow us to design services that truly resonate and make difference in the way that we can create new services, improve services, and the process itself. Thank you very much. So this is, well, gracias, thank you, and kiitos, because it's a very different type of people in here and languages. So that is all the presentations, and I know we have just 5 minutes, so we can make maybe just one, see how, I saw that Shenhang just answered one question in there, and thank you for all the comments. Ki-won also answered. I don't know if there is any other answer that is not in the chat that you want to make, or any comments that you want to make.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, I am Mir Mohammed from Pakistan. Basically, I am recent graduate from IDA program in Pakistan. It's an interdisciplinary expanded design and art. So I did my thesis in kidney disease. So in Pakistan, 70 million people are getting kidney disease problem. So I am working as a creative director with Chuktai Lab. Is a lab. I'm as a creative director for social media, and we are creating documentaries and social media designs. So I want to apply for service design. So I want to improve the education system and healthcare system in Pakistan. So I already filled out my application. So I want to know about how service design will help me to uh, change the education system in Pakistan for betterment.
Mariluz, you're muted.
Your mic is
Thank you. There's someone that we want who want to ask the question about this connection, education, and service design. That Mer. And I have another question for you, Mer. Maybe I don't know
yes,
if I
ma'am.
Yes, it's a correctly way to pronounce your name. Your question is how it's the connection between education and service design, but I know that you give more information related with data and social media. So I don't understand that connection that you did. Can you explain a little bit,
Actually,
please?
I was asking about service design, how it works for education. When I was filling my application, I got assessment about the education. So that's why I am asking.
Maybe I can take this one if that's okay.
Okay, Mari, thank you.
Like, I think you can use service design also for education. I have one journal article with other researchers such as Karna Määttä and Sari Kotoniemi and Kati Päkkönen, and there we introduce like some design tools, for example, giga mapping or mesh mapping that you can use for education as well. So then you can understand the complexity or the service in question, and especially we were looking at the what is it now, inclusive education, because it's a quite wicked problem today at education. So in that way, using these design tools, we could delve with the community and using those micro, meso, and macro levels to understand what are the challenges, what is like the local school, but the local school is situated in a bigger meso level, that is the municipality. And then we have the macro level that are the laws, and they kind of define what kind of inclusive education is in the micro level as well. So it's like a web of a lot of actors that we are dealing with. So those tools or like mind sense or perspectives, they can help, make this co-creation or participatory design of creating hopefully some better solutions. That is not the one way kind of thing. It's I would say it's a decade-long process to improve because it's been a big experiment now that let's put everybody together. So it has had good effects, but also some consequences that might not have been thought when the law was made as well. I don't know if
Thanks.
that helps to answer the question.
Thanks
Yes,
so much.
Thank you very much, Mari and Mary, for the question. And also, I want to add that there's also like a wicked problem that you said, Mari. There is also many ethical issues depending on what type of education or grade that you are facing in the service design project. So, well, I think we are on time. I saw there is some question about empathy from Layli, so we will try to answer you if you share your email, maybe in private to me. We can answer that, or even for LinkedIn. I saw that also Mari shared her LinkedIn and Heidi. So let's keep connect. And thank you very much for being here and participate. Thank you very much for all the presentation. Satu, Mari, Shenhang, Joanna, Jan, Kiwong, Takja. Thank you very much. And all those presentations are very, very, very insightful. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.